After 11 o'clock, the Madlanga Commission taking that expected tea break, this time until 11:15. There you can see the witness on the stand stretching, I suppose, after yet another grilling time before commissioners. That's Dr. Imogen Mashazi. She is the former Ekurhuleni city manager and is testifying before this inquiry after she was accused of essentially using her influence to protect certain people, including EMPD Deputy Chief Julius Mkhwanazi. She's had a really tough time. I think few people will argue with that, answering more pointed questions from commissioners from the very get-go, who really drilled into the details of some of the claims that she's made around when she knew that there were allegations against Isaac Mapiyeye, what she did in response to that, and whether or not she takes any accountability, for example, for Isaac Mapiyeye actually having a renewal of his contract when he allegedly had these very serious allegations against him, including those of sexual harassment, rape, and the likes. As always, let's take you back to some of those moments that we think are worth ventilating for you. And in fact, the first one is around that very issue, around whether or not Imogen Mashazi raised the concerns she had about Isaac Mapiyeye, especially considering that she was on the panel that ultimately recommended that he be renewed for another 5 years. Take a listen.
You say you did raise issues, but you don't remember what you raised. These issues aren't the normal run-of-the-mill cases. These were very serious issues. Sexual harassment, rape, and the others that have been mentioned. In fact, that you have mentioned. Those are serious issues. There is no way you would not remember if you specifically raised them at the interview. Did you?
I'm saying I raised the issue of sexual harassment of female, the allegations. That's what I raised. But I don't remember other issues that I raised. Whether I raised the issue of the accident, because the memorandum was never brought to my attention.
And why would you have singled out sexual harassment if there were even allegations, according to you, allegations of rape? Why would you have singled out sexual harassment?
The rape, it's a new case that was actually brought to the attention of the city now during the sexual harassment case of the victim.
Just repeat, I didn't quite get the point you were making about you are one woman and there are 3 men. You said something about being able to raise issues of this nature in that context. I didn't quite get the point you were making. Can you please articulate that point more clearly?
I have raised the issue that I have concern that these things are happening in the department.
Just repeat, please.
I have raised the point about sexual harassment allegations within the department, and Chief being one of them. But the other issues that I raised there, to be honest, but I do not recall, but definitely I did raise the issue.
It subsequently emerged later on in her testimony that, in fact, Imogen Mashazi has no record of even raising these issues during that interview where Mapiyeye, as I mentioned, was given another 5-year contract. But let's stay with this line of questioning, because the evidence leader, Advocate Nhlanhla, pressed Mashazi about this concept of having this information at your disposal, but essentially sitting on it. Take a listen.
You say that you could not discipline him as his superior because there was no complaint. But you are aware of these allegations of motor vehicle destruction, drinking or driving under the influence of alcohol. You are aware of this video where these allegations are being made against him. Why did you not lodge a complaint as his superior, a written complaint against him? You know the facts. You know the facts. You know they are disciplinable facts, and they include destruction of council property, according to you. Why did you not lay a complaint in writing?
In writing to
the council.
To the council.
Unless you're telling us that he's not disciplinable because he's head of police and you are his manager. Unless you're telling us that. which is not what you said. You've said the authority lies with council. You couldn't initiate without council approval. So these allegations must land before the council for the council to authorize, right, an investigation and disciplinary action. You say to us you couldn't, there was nothing, there was no written complaint, but only you could lay a complaint because you're his superior and you know these allegations against him. Why did you not lay a complaint?
Correct, I did not lay the complaint. Remember, I've explained that that memorandum from the MMC did not reach my office. And this video, I just got it like last night because people could see that I'm struggling to, I don't have information, I don't have evidence. I just got it last night. That's why we submitted this morning to the commission.
No, it can be. You were city manager in 2020 already. You were city manager. Correct. There's a public, very public protest, as we see in this video. So you know that there's allegations that he's destroyed company property. You know that. You know that there's allegations that you drove under the influence a motor vehicle of the council. So you know that in 2020 as city manager, so it's not video dependent. It is fact. What do you know in 2020? You've just confirmed. You were aware of this in 2020, of this conduct. My question is, why did you not lay a complaint? Because your answer is, I couldn't discipline him because there was no written complaint. But you're the city manager, he's superior. Why did you not lay a complaint?
Let me concede that I failed to discipline the chief of police and yes. I failed to do an oversight on him as an HOD.
All right, thank you.
And that was an important concession there, Imogen Mashazi, admitting that she failed to discipline the chief of police as the HOD of the department. Canny Maphanga is inside the Bridget Mabanda Justice College. She was listening to that testimony at close range and joins us now live. And Canny, you know, it really got off to quite the start this morning. From the beginning, we saw this video evidence that Imogen Mashazi wanted to present before the commission, and ultimately it led down to that decision to ultimately appoint Julius Mkhwanazi as the acting EMPD police chief.
Indeed. Good morning to Ayanda and to the viewers once again. Well, essentially what is being tested here are the very serious allegations that we've seen a pattern of Dr. Imogen Mashazi making against particularly the now suspended chief, EMPD police chief, that is Chief Mapiyeye. And in this context, she was speaking about the defeating the ends of justice claim that she was making. And she alleged that Mapiyeye was allegedly guilty of drunk driving, and that he had defeated the ends of justice by allegedly cleaning up the scene, and that he was never held accountable for such an incident. And of course, in the common theme that is running throughout the testimony, the commission asked her to bring the evidence to substantiate that particular claim, because it will have to be tested before this evidence-based probe. This morning, she shows up with a report by SABC News in 2020 reporting on a protest calling for his suspension amid those allegations of drunk driving, the destroyal of property, and etc., etc. However, the difficulty for her, once again, is that she was the city manager at that time, appointed from 2016. The incident she's referring to, or the protest video that she had showed, was from 2020. So she was well within a position as the extreme or the primary accounting officer, as the HOD of the city of Ekurhuleni, to take steps to discipline or investigate or take further this particular issue relating to this incident that she alleges speaks to the fact that this is not a victim, but this is allegedly a perpetrator, and this is someone who has also defeated the ends of justice within the city of Ekurhuleni. Now, she faced those difficult questions and, of course, had to concede that although she had the powers to do so, she didn't take any steps to discipline him. This is also a a running theme when you speak of different elements upon which her evidence is tested. Now, she's conceded a number of times that the conduct of Brigadier Julius Mkhwanazi, that is the now suspended acting EMPD chief, police chief, was irregular in many respects, whether it is the memorandum, whether it is this allegation that civilians were joining his particular unit to conduct all of these horrendous offences, whether it is the allegation that his unit refused to be vetted when called upon to do so. However, she still allowed for this individual, in light of those allegations, to be able to climb and thrive within the ranks and become the acting police chief. In light of those serious allegations, again, what is being tested consistently throughout the testimony is her conduct, or rather her inaction, in the face of gross allegations of criminality and a city of Ekurhuleni that really was in shambles at the time that she had entered, according to her testimony. But as she's confronted with all these various allegations and improper conduct, it seems not only does she deny it or claims to have little knowledge about what was taking place, but when it is put to her that she was in a position to do something, she can't explain why she did nothing. She just takes the point. So she'll continue with that evidence until lunchtime, we expect, where they'll be concluding the number of questions that she had responded to or has to respond to in terms of the evidence that has been placed before the Commission. However, at this point, she's not able to express as to why she did not act on the number of allegations that she saw or experienced, and she's not able to substantiate, rather, some of the claims that she is making in her statements to support the conduct or the inaction.
Yeah, speaking about the difficulty to substantiate decisions, let's say, towards the tail end of a testimony there, Imogen Mashazi asked to point out where she gets this information that Julius Mkhwanazi was ultimately recommended to become the acting police chief after Isaac Mappier was suspended. And again, I get the sense that she kind of kicked for touch and ultimately just took the point.
Indeed, and she makes it as a positive statement, but then when called upon to substantiate it, or where she got the understanding that he was recommended, because she's disputing the issues surrounding the irregularities, she still can't explain where she got the knowledge, or she would have understood that he was recommended. And again, she points back to the timelines, her legal team not being afforded enough time to respond, not getting the necessary resources to adequately respond to the affidavit, or rather the evidence that has been placed before the Commission. So it's difficult to ascertain where she gets the supporting statements to make the remarks that she is making at the current stage. It makes it quite difficult not only for her claims to be accepted by the Commission, but for the Madlanga Commission itself to understand where exactly this evidence is going and what it is trying to highlight before the Commission.
All right, Canny Maphanga, live to us there from the Bridget Mabanda Justice College. That's where the Madlanga Commission is sitting for the 40th day. For now, Canny, thanks very much indeed. We anticipate that Imogen Mashazi will be back on the witness seat, if they are on time, in less than a minute. So we'll try to stay with the story as much as we can, given, of course, the timeline surrounding this. And it's worth pointing out to you that later on, we're expecting to hear from Police Minister Senzo Mchunu, who's currently on a leave of absence since that July bombshell briefing by Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. Depending how you see it, Senzo Mchunu is really at the center of the allegations that have been made after he was accused of giving that directive of the disbandment of the political killings task team on the 31st of December last year. And it really has cascaded into the series of events that have unfolded, opening up the Pandora's box around what might have gone wrong, not only at a national level within the SAPS, but also at a provincial level too. His testimony is meant to start at around 2 o'clock this afternoon. That's when we imagine he will double down on what he's already said at the ad hoc committee, where he told parliamentarians that in fact he acted well within his ambit when he issued that directive. But he also went as far as to say that it wasn't the first time that he's disbanded a specialized policing unit, pointing to other directives that he's issued in the past. Senzo Mchunu, in substantiating his decision, also mentioned the fact that he the Political Killings Task Team was using a lot of resources within the SAPS, and therefore, it made sense for him to disband that particular unit. Once again, the Madlanga Commission will start at this point, so we'll try and keep a very close eye on what's taking place. I'm just going to check with the team whether we can bring up some of the clips that Imogen Mashazi, or of Imogen Mashazi, as she was speaking earlier on today. There was a point where she made a special or an important concession, saying that she failed to discipline the now suspended police chief in Isaac Mapiyeye. It was quite the moment and quite the concession. Take a listen.
There's a public, very public protest, as we see in this video. So you know that there's allegations that he's destroyed company property. You know that. You know that there's allegations that you drove under the influence a motor vehicle of the council. So you know that in 2020 as city manager. So it's not video dependent. It is fact. What do you know in 2020? You've just confirmed you were aware of this in 2020, of this conduct. My question is, why did you not lay a complaint? Because your answer is, I couldn't discipline him because there was no written complaint. But you're the city manager, he's superior. Why did you not lay a complaint?
Let me concede that I failed to discipline the chief of police, and I failed to do an oversight on him as an HOD.
All right, thank you.
All right, that was earlier on today. We anticipate that commissioners will walk in at any moment now, and as soon as they do, we'll certainly take you back to the Madlanga Commission.